Civil War. This is a video I was talking about that I agree and disagree with a lot of their points, or it's like that. This whole channel I've been while watching a couple of their videos, and like I've been agreeing with them for a lot. But watching this, it made me disagree on quite a bit because I did go see the movie last weekend, I believe it came out, and it's like I like the movie. I did, and it didn't turn out the way I thought it would. I thought it'd be more action based and like more about like war instead of like journalism. But I guess that was just my misinterpretation of it. But here we go.
Welcome back to the watch. I'm Oz. That's Shad. This is Civil War.
We're Civil War.
Yeah.
It's upon us, or it might be upon us.
Whose side do you want?
Whose side? Well, that's actually a very important aspect to this review of it, because this movie is desperate to present itself as being ambiguous.
It's not even ambiguous. Obfuscation.
But the thing is, though, it actually becomes quite clear as to which side is supposed to be the bad guy and which side those bad guys are supposed to represent.
Exactly. It's so obvious, and they're lying to our face.
But the thing is, what's so funny, even though it's so obvious, so many people are watching this, it's like they want it more obvious. They didn't go far enough. Okay? When it's like, this movie is actually really vile and disingenuous.
Yeah.
Now, here's the thing. My distaste for this film comes from the fact of how badly it fails at what it thinks it's achieving.
Yeah.
It actually is getting high on its own farts. This is a self-indulgent, aren't I a good, well-balanced, cautionary tale of you don't want us to go down this way. It fails at every single point in that supposed mission. This film thinks it's high and important when it's not. It's actually, not only does it fail at that, it is a self-indulgent, wish fulfillment fantasy for people who dislike certain other people, right? And if anything, it kind of is encouraging more division.
Yes.
And as a result, that's why this is a vile film.
Yeah, and the fact that it was released in an election.
My thing is that like I don't feel like it creates more division or anything. I feel like they are seeing it from a different lens in the sense that the like I assume these guys are mainly cover gaming. I'm not entirely sure. I only just found them out maybe 2-3 weeks ago. But like I feel that they cover a lot of gaming and gaming journalism. It's like gaming journalism is very different from like on the ground actual news journalism. Because being on the ground and covering things in person is completely different from just like being at a desk, going through websites and creating opinion pieces. Those are two different worlds.
Yeah.
Right? It's trying to very cynically capitalize on some truly important and actual dangerous division that's happening in the world, right? And instead of trying to quell it, it's stoking the flames and actually exaggerating it a bit. One, trying to prop up and protect some of the groups of people that are contributing it most to the worst. Yes, journalists.
Journalists.
Right.
There was one. There's a lot of examples in this movie of the mask slipping and the Freudian slip. Right. The fact that a civil war is literally happening, and the very first thing we see about journalists when they're not like taking photos is they're all celebrating in hotel rooms. They love it. They love it because they profit.
Well, that. See, I feel like a lot of it is like covering or like you going with the mindset of journalists we have today as opposed to like what they're really supposed to be about. Whereas in like in the movie, I think that that's what journalism is supposed to be, but we obviously don't have that at all today. Or I don't know about at all, but like it's very like not many people do like the hard work, boots on the ground type of journalism. Most journalists are like like you said, on their computer at their desks, and it's like just like going through websites and like typing up their own opinion piece. And that's like the angle, or like what I feel that they're kind of coming in with the in at the movie with, is that like they already have this idea of what journalists are based on how they are today, and not what they should be about. But because I remember uh Tim Pool, it's like he talks about like his story of like how he got into, or what he does today. And it's like he talks about Wall Street a lot, where like he was actually there at Wall Street, and covering what was actually going on and whatnot. I also think of like Savannah Hernandez on Twitter and whatnot, on your YouTube. It's like as of right now, she, or I don't know about right now, but like the past couple of days, she was boots on the ground in New York, covering what's going on with like immigration, because there's like, I don't know, like millions of people from like Africa and Haiti and well whatever such in New York, trying to get, where, trying to become a citizen or whatever, or like, just using taxpayer dollars to help them. And so I was like, there's so many immigrants that are, demanding for free stuff and such, and it's like that's just our money being wasted. And it's like she's on the ground, seeing the people in person, and like talking to some of them, seeing how they really are. And it's like these people are just like looking for handouts. And it's like you need to know which journalists you can trust and which you can't. And again, I think these guys are have this idea of like pretty much all journalists are just like, you know lazy and just write opinion pieces and whatnot.
Profiteering off of the conflict of
Yes,
war.
they are happy to see a person laying dead on the ground if they can take a photo of it.
Literally, that's in the film.
Yeah.
But they're the good guys because their job is to record and let other people judge what it's about, even though the film literally acknowledges that recording and showing the horrors of war did nothing to prevent the conflict that's happening in the film at all. Therefore, what they're doing is pointless.
Yep.
And they just are getting in the way. And not only getting in the way, doing nothing, literally nothing to try and prevent and stop it or help people that are injured in the process.
Yeah.
Like,
That's another thing in the movie. It's not like they are journalists, and it's like that's their job. And so I was like, I understand the morality of it, of love. Like if like someone dies, or like gets like very injured, and you're just like taking pictures of everything thing that's going on, instead of helping them. It's like, you're doing a job, and you would think other people around them would help. It's kind of a fine line there, but because from a morality standpoint, it's like journalists are shitty people if they're just like taking pictures and covering the story. But it's like, if there's no one else doing that, it's like how are you gonna know what's actually going on, especially if it's like a war or a battle zone. It's like if you're in like, I ain't gonna use a war zone, but like say there's like a gang war going on, and it's like you're covering that and like taking pictures of what's going on. It's like, yeah, so many people online can like spin their own stories and make up shit. But like if you're actually there and you're taking pictures and like showing off what's actually happening, you're getting the truth. so it's like I would say that journalist did do a good job covering that, but like if they had the chance to save people, it's like, it's it's a very fine line to deal with as far as morality goes.
Oh, but she said the person. No, when the terrorist bomb happens the first, she's just taking pictures. And there's still people probably injured, bleeding out that need help. And it's like, oh, smile for me. It's like, you are scum. And they're presenting this person as the good person.
Oh,
Journalists are the heroes, Oz. Holy crap.
They pretend to be unbiased, right? But if you're standing by while people are bleeding to death, and you could help,
yes,
you
are scum.
Yeah,
and not only standing by, actively profiting off of their suffering and process of death, right? You are trying to capture their death for your own gain instead of trying to prevent their death for the other person's help. You psychopathic scumbag. You deserve to die. I'm glad you did, and the film sucks.
Yes.
Right? And so...
Oh, these guys are so overly emotional about this. Like, it's not that serious. Like, I see it as like people who are trying to find out the truth of like what's going on. Because if you have a journalist that's just sitting at home and sounds like he hearing about like something inside, like they don't actually know what's going on. They're just forming their own opinion, writing up a story and then sharing it online, and then other people like basically do the same thing, and it's like it's possible that the the journalist man makes up a make believe story that probably has a lot of like misinformation in it, or misinformation in it, and then it's like another person takes in that story, and it's like you don't retain everything, but it's like you take tidbits that's watered down onto the next person, that's watered down, next onto the next person, that's watered down, and it just keeps on going on and on and on. Whereas if you have a journalist that's like actually there and like capturing everything to tell the truth of what's actually going on from their experience, you can't argue with that because they were actually there. And it's like I understand where he's coming from, but at the same time, it's a job, and it's like you can't cover stories when you're not actually there, or like you don't actually experience it. Because how do you think all these new stories come out? It's like someone was actually there and they reported it, and it's like you usually, well, you usually, or like I would assume almost all the time, it's like they talk to someone who was actually there that experienced it. It's like unfortunately the journalist can't, or news people or whatever can't like have firsthand experience of what actually happened there. They just get like a story that someone made up, and it's like they could be lying for all they know.
The film is so awful that I don't think we should give it a free pass at all for the acting quality or the filmography or anything like that, because admittedly the acting is good, the filmography and techniques are very well done. I would even say it's well directed. The plot is retarded and pretty stupid, and the characters make really dumb choices. But the greatest failing, as I mentioned, is that not only does this fail at the noble goal it thinks it's achieving, it's actually working against it, trying to make more division in society, propelling people more towards a civil war, and trying to protect people who are actively working mostly, seemingly, towards that end goal and the division in society.
Yeah.
Huh. So, let's get into some of the specifics now. All right, we've already jumped around and mentioned some.
Yeah.
But, its message is journalism is so important, even though the character says explicitly in the film that all the horrors that she captured, through her journey and job, did nothing to prevent the civil war they're currently in. So the message of the film is that journalism was worthless and pointless in preventing... So why are you doing it then?
I can get behind that message, though.
I mean, if people actually
it's getting information out there. I mean, yes, you're not doing anything to stop it, but it's like how do people learn of like atrocities in the world if journalists aren't there actually covering the story firsthand? It's like with the Epstein Island and whatnot. Is like how do we ever find out about that? Like hearing actual stories if there wasn't someone actually like who was there and wanted to like help them and whatnot. Or some of the things that are going on in China. It's like they have those Uyghur concentration camps, and it's like that. There was I remember seeing a picture of an overhead view of like Uyghurs in rows and whatnot, and it's like someone has to share this with the world, and so it's like we and it's like either groups of people or like a select few people will actually do something. It's just like journalism is like the spark for someone to actually do something.
Trying to bridge the gap, get people to understand one another's differences, and have an explicit message against violence. That might have done it. Now, this is where I think the film thinks it has an anti-violent message, right? It shows people from both sides of the conflict engaging in horrible acts of violence and inhumanity.
But one is clearly worse than the other.
It is. I mean, but the examples like the people just hanging, being tortured, and no care at all for the suffering and pain of the people.
But what side do you think those dudes that did that were on? Do you think they were the progressive liberals?
Oh no, it's clear that they are on one side. Maybe we should contextualize this.
Hang on. The part he's talking about is the journalists need gas. They drive up to a gas station, and these guys at the gas station are armed with guns and whatnot. And then there's a freight container that are holding up guys that are like beaten and bloody and whatnot. One of the journalists end up going down to them and is like taking pictures and whatnot. One of the guys from the gas station goes down with them and talks to them and whatnot, and the journalist ends up asking the guy to like stand by them so like that they can take a picture of it. And it's like, in that situation, what are you going to do exactly? Because the guy has a gun, and it's like if you do anything to like piss him off or like you attack him or whatnot, you're gonna get shot and probably die. So you don't really have a choice there. It's like, sure, you would, if you could, you would like to save those people if you could get away with it safely, but realistically, you'd most likely die, and they wouldn't be helped at all. So it's like they're not helped, and now you're dead. So what are you supposed to do? You're a journalist. All you have is a camera. It's like, it's unfortunate that you can't help them. You wish you could, but the realistic situation is that like you're gonna get hurt and probably die.
It's by defining what the sides of the film, because that helps define its ultimate anti-message of anti-tolerance and promotion of violence, and it's not depicting an anti-violent message, okay? Yeah. And so there are two factions in this: the Western forces and the state forces, essentially. There are some third factions, like Florida's thrown into the mix, that's getting caught into it, but they're mostly irrelevant for this story.
Florida man.
The Western forces are comprised of California and Texas.
Oh, gee! That's like, that's like Coke and Pepsi teaming up. Oh, wait, no. I liked, Drinker's one was good. What did he say? It's like, it was like, Movie Bob and,
Mauler?
Mauler teaming up to fight Nerdrotic. Like, what? That's gold. Oh man.
Yeah, like bonkers. Maybe one of these states conquered the other states before they launched the attack.
But again, it makes no sense.
Yeah. So the thing is, though, the film is very clear that the Western forces are the ones not wearing uniforms up until they meet the more organized Western forces that are wearing uniforms. Okay? And one of the contexts that we can know that these are the Western forces that are interacting with, so basically anyone with like guns that are engaging in the conflict that are not wearing uniforms, again, Western forces, is that they're okay with journalists. Because it's very clear the president has like a shoot journalists on sight policy. Either they say it's in DC, but that also implied that that side is anti-journalists.
But that in reality that would never happen, because the state uses journalists in warfare, civil warfare, any sort of thing all the time.
Yeah. Well, in the movie, it's it's their own internal propaganda that's getting thrown out, and so one.
That's it's like there because there's always those journalists that like want to tell the truth, and the other ones that are just in it for a payday, and it's like whatchamacallit, it's like government will use, you know, some journalists to share a story, like that's the truth when it's really not. They're just paid by the government to say whatever to make the government look good. And then there's the other journalists who want the truth and are actually there trying to get the truth. And it's like they don't really care, even though it does put them in the most danger, technically.
One side is explicitly anti-journalist, okay, and one side is pro-journalist. One side is shown spreading blatant, obvious misinformation. The president is saying, we're winning, even though he's losing. We're doing these great victories, even though he's losing, okay? So already two big indications. They come across people in uniforms, right, that are irredeemable murderers, but also anti-immigration.
China.
So to the point of finding out someone's Chinese and murdering them without hesitation, right? And
Yeah, there was the one scene of love, like in the trailer, the the one, I believe he was like a redhead or blonde or something, and like he says, okay, well, what kind of American are you? It's like that scene was pretty brutal, but it's like realistically, in the U.S., if it comes down to like a civil war or wartime, there are those Americans that are extremists that like if you're not like born and raised American, then they don't want you here. And being in a war or martial law or whatever the fuck, I can see them shooting, you know, people who aren't American or whatever. Because again, there are extremists out there in the world. It's like they're not great people, but they exist. So it's like that. I believe is realistic. That's just the type of person that they're showing off. And it's like just because you don't want to believe there's people like that, there really are if you look into it. And it's like even for me while watching that scene was kind of difficult because they ended up shooting one guy who could barely speak English in his lab because he was clearly not American, and then he had a buddy that was originally with him, and then he got into another person's car, and it's like he wasn't born American, but he ended up asking where he's from. He said Hong Kong. He's like, oh, Hong Kong, so you're from China. And he instantly shot him. It's like that was very hard to watch actually, because it's just amazing how there really are some people that they'll like if you're not American, then they don't want you here, point blank period.
all right, so based on those three hints, okay, it's kind of clear as to which side is representing which people in
Yeah.
the world. Okay.
Also, every single one of the state forces we saw was a white male, and with the exception of like two of the what are they called? The Western forces.
I can't remember.
Yeah, they were very diverse.
Oh, really? I missed a lot of that. I just don't see race.
Well, the first thing you see is a black dude crying, screaming while he's in low cover, being shot at from a white dude, and then he gets murdered. Well, not murdered, killed by a soldier, and then the diverse crowd of non-uniformed sneak up and kill the
Now
guy.
the thing is, the reason why I like the sides, right? That it's clear which side is representing who, right? I'm not saying one side is explicitly racist or anti-immigration or explicitly anti-journalism or explicitly spreading false propaganda, right? But which side is constantly accused of that from the other side?
Yeah.
Okay? And so when they depict certain sides in a film and certain sides are caricatures of what they're accusing the others to be, gee, I wonder who they're supposed to represent.
Such an unbiased movie.
I know, it's so fair and even-handed, Oz.
Yeah, both sides bad. One side's killing innocent people for no other reason than their race. The other side shoots the president.
Not only shoots the president, has a long drawn-out hunting of the president, and makes sure his defeat, his death, is as pathetic and whimpering as possible, and it plays out. Well, let me actually backtrack a little bit, right? If we're looking at the political discourse, is there one side that has expressed clear, unmistakable
Bro, it's like I feel in like pretty much almost all stories, there's always gonna be someone who's clearly displayed as like a bad guy, because it's like you look at in Slams, like I think that this is crazy. It's like after so many years from when it came out, but it's like the Tomb Raider reboot. It's like there's Laura Croft and her group of people that are stuck there trying to get off the island, and then there's other people that are like a bit dingy, dirty, and it's like they've been there they've been there a while. They're also trying to get off the island, but like they are sacrificing other people in order to accomplish that. But it's like Laura Croft is killing all these people who have the same goal, but Laura Croft is depicted as the hero. So it's like, you know, tell me how that may make sense. It's like both parties have the same goal. And then you have one person who's killing everyone on the island. They just want off the island, same as you. But the one person who's killing pretty much everyone on the island is the hero. Doesn't make sense.
desires of violence against a president.
Yes.
Like I think of a severed head of a president being held up.
Yeah.
One side actually has a fantasy of murdering a president. And with the sides being pretty clear in the film, this film has a very blatant, in-your-face death of a president, specifically a corrupt, evil president that needs to be forcefully removed out of power.
Well, do we know that he's corrupt and evil? He disbanded the FBI, which base.
Oh, but I know, that's the other clue as well.
Yeah.
Like, that president also disbanded the FBI. Which side, again, are they caricaturing with that? So, sorry, that's a fourth big clue right there. And
Well, JFK did say, if I could, I wish I could destroy the CIA and scatter its ashes into the wind 7 days before he was killed.
but out of the current political landscape, which side is having issues with certain
be the Orange Man.
three-letter organizations, right?
Yeah. Well, actually, you say that, but the FBI recently declared Joe Biden legally incompetent to stand trial.
That was hilarious, but that was also just to avoid him going on trial, so he wouldn't be guilty of the things that they're accusing the other one of,
But
right?
still, the president is too.
Incompetent to stand trial, yet he'll still be president. We're living in cloud world. Let's just.
Good lord.
This is insane. Anyway, so this film plays out, unironically, like a wish fulfillment fantasy for people who want to murder, kill, and forcefully remove a president that they dislike, that they feel is
Bad.
a fascist.
Yeah.
I wonder what this film is supposed to play out like.
Yeah.
This is just like a wish fulfillment indulgent jerk off for.
It's a hand job for journos. That's all it is.
Feels like it. It feels like this is not a noble cautionary tale, and this is where we get to another part that I particularly despise about this film. Right, this film has no message of we need tolerance. In actual fact, it presents the conflict as being wholly unavoidable. Throughout the entire film, was there a single line of saying, maybe we should try and stop the fighting and talk this out? I understand the other side. Or not only that, maybe you feel like it's too far gone, we can't do it. But what if they could express regret that if only we showed more tolerance to each other, this could have been avoided? Nothing, even a single line could have done it. But not a line like that at all through the film. It's actually the reverse. They seem to be taking pleasure in the conflict because their answer, the film is implying seemingly that the answer to this conflict is the whole and total destruction of your ideological enemy forcefully through violence, destroy them all, and then you will be able to get in power and have the society and utopia you want. That's the message of the film.
We're getting a lot of that from liberals recently in movies and shows.
Seems like that.
Yeah.
Because the message of the film is we have to destroy... The president is so evil and of such a fascist, he can only be stopped through violence and has to be forcefully removed through power. I mean, the president must have gotten to that position through the democratic process, you would think, but...
Yeah, even Hitler was elected into power.
I don't know. I don't feel that's the message of it. It's like I think that was just like the conflict, but it's like the whole movie is about journalism, and it's like they're just put in this situation of like where it is a civil war, and it's like you're basically dealing with extremists. It's like you're not, or you're gonna have a very hard time changing the mind of extremists. So it's like I don't think that's the message of the film. That's just something that happened, or that's the setting that it takes place in.
Okay. And I'm not saying people can't be elected into power. That needs to be, removed it through, because Hitler obviously was really bad.
Yeah, Joe Biden was elected into power, don't you
The thing
know?
is, though, the current state in America, we don't actually have Nazis in power. Even though certain sides would like to vilify people to that level.
Joe Biden's old enough to be a...
So, the message of the film is you can't... Peace in America and ideological, victory can only happen through the destruction of those that disagree with you, and regretting the violence that you're forced to doesn't even exist. In actual fact, the film portrays, it is good and enjoyable to destroy your enemy. They are taking glee in the death of the president, and when the people are killing each other on the other side, it's always shown with pleasure. Remember when they drag out the soldiers, and these are the ones in the uniform?
That's, oh my god. They're talking about like the setting of the movie. The movie revolves around the journalists that are covering the story, but was like all the other characters and situations that they're in. That's just the setting of the story. It's like to me, the message of the movie is you need those people who will be boots on the ground and are willing to tell the truth or get the truth out to the public. Because without those people, it's like the world is just gonna be full of like misinformation and lies.
Uniform, and I think the film might believe it's thinking, look how balanced we are. We're showing even the Western forces being like horrible by taking glory in violence, right? Because they take out those soldiers and then you see the guy executing them, right? And he is like loving it, right? Because there is no sign of regret that this is bad, we should try and avoid, and everything like that. The only true takeaway of scenes like that is that it is enjoyable to murder it and kill your enemies.
Yeah. I also think it serves another purpose. I think this movie is disinformation, not misinformation. Misinformation is when it's a mistake. Disinformation is when it's purposeful to trick people. I think all the combat scenes, so for example, that one you explained with the mowing down these prisoners, right? That's a complete waste of ammunition. That's a 50 caliber. That thing can take down a bloody helicopter, right?
It'll
You waste
be
it.
single shot, but no, they love the violence. They want to not only kill their enemies, defeat their enemies, they want to butcher and massacre their enemies for the joy of it.
Yeah.
But
Again, people in the war. This takes place in the U.S. Across the U.S., you have a diverse amount of people. Like, many people are very, very different from each other. In the movie, it's like the people that are being shown off are basically all extremists from each side. Because normal people won't like be involved in that or like just want to be like peaceful as possible. Which there is a point in the movie where like they come across a town that's like it's unscathed. They don't want anything to do with the war. It's like you have those type of people who are like in the middle. They're not extremists either way. It's the extremists that want to kill each other.
the message of the film, because there's no regret for this, right, is that that's actually going to be satisfying. Killing the president you dislike is going to be satisfying in the end. And that's why, because people might argue, no, the final picture at the end with the soldiers, standing in glory over the dead president, that's the cautionary tale. That's the thing that everyone should look at and think, that's horrifying. Let us hope that we would never come to such a point where we would pose over the dead body of our enemy in happiness and glee, right? The side that holds up severed heads and celebrates them, right, as the ultimate goal they want, will never get that message. That when they see that, they see victory and the future they want to achieve if they can't get the victory through any other process. That's what the film is actually encouraging and double downing with, explicitly, because the film does not present any remorse for it, actual voiced remorse from any characters that it could have been avoided or should have been avoided, that is regretful, or that the differences could have been bridged. The differences are irreconcilable, no chance for them getting along, no attempt to saying, what if we could understand the other side? Isn't this horrible that we're in? We should have avoided it. They try and say it's sad because people are dying and, war is bad. No. They're not voicing or saying, I wish we would have shown more tolerance at all in the film.
Have you heard...
It's like, well, with the whole extremist like aspect of it that I take, it's like he clearly doesn't see that. It's like just like go online and like talk to like in gaming, and it's like talk to fanboys and like try to convince them that like another system is better or like has or does things better than their system. It's like you have so many like PlayStation fanboys that like talk endless shit about Xbox and PC and whatnot, that they just have nothing good to say about those platforms. Whereas like people in the middle have their preferences, but like they can see where other things do good and where they fall short. And it's like that's the whole thing. Or at least that's the way I see it. There's a lot of extremists that like you just cannot talk your way or talk to them in order to get them to change their mind. because I remember having several discussions with like PlayStation fanboys and silence. Like they just they just don't understand what I'm saying. Like uh well, one dude I had an argument with. I was talking about A Plague's Tale. What was it? Requiem, I think was the sequel, and it has a mode on PlayStation where I believe it goes up to 120, and it's like that was after a patch can came out. But like on PC, like I'm getting 4K 60 or 80 or whatever, and it's like that, and it's like the PlayStation fanboy was saying that the the console version is doing 4K 120, whereas the PC is doing 4K 60 or 80. And the thing is about the console version is like internally that runs at like 1440p or something less than 4K and upscales it so it presents itself as 4K for your screen. And then with the 120, he was kind of convinced that the like he was getting 120 because he turned on VSync on his monitor or FreeSync or whatever. He didn't think it was like a setting in the game or it had anything to do with the game. It was just like the monitor that like magically made it like 120 frames. So it's like there's these people that like just can't comprehend when you're telling them the truth.
Do you know about police surveillance procedure? You probably don't.
Yeah,
Like tailing in movies, for example,
Okay, yeah.
they're right there behind them, right? They in movies they've specifically made it so you can't show proper police surveillance procedure, because otherwise criminals will know, right?
Yeah.
I feel like they've done the same thing with military tactics and just violence tactics in general for movies. That's why the action in this movie makes no sense at all. Like, nothing makes sense.
Just from the beginning in terms of the resources of either side.
Yeah. Well, no, not just that, but like the actual placement. Like, for example, where you see the first couple of people killed in the shootout, right? They, for some reason, jump behind concrete pillars that are barely big enough to actually cover them, right? Shooting up at people who are in perfect cover, shooting down at them, really very little of them exposed to shoot down, stuff like that, right? And the people up there still lose. Right? Or at the end there, they still have the president in the White House when DC's completely
I know.
He wouldn't be in the same country.
I know. It's retarded beyond belief.
There's a vault underneath the White House that survives nuclear explosions.
But he's just in his office, just waiting to be killed.
Yeah, and the soldiers, bloody Delta Force from the West Coast, is happy with journos being right behind them, getting in their way.
The journos were just friggin' so frustrating with how.
A lot of those points I think is just done for like story purposes or like trying to make sense of things even though realistically it doesn't make sense. And that's actually another thing I think with the journalists in science is like they're in the middle of a war zone in science, like they're behind guys that are shooting and they're being shot at. It's like that's the most dangerous type of journalism, just to get footage of like what's actually going on. And it's like I don't understand how the soldiers or combatants can stand that, but I feel that was done for, I guess, entertainment or theatrical reasons. I find it hard to believe like journalists in real life would actually like put themselves in that situation. And so I was like, I think being in a war zone is dangerous, just like even being in the area.
In the way, but they were trying to justify it. No, they wanted to get the picture of the president being defeated to the world as propaganda, not for like a message of the importance of journalism. No, it's just to profiteer and spread wartime propaganda to prop up one side that this film is obviously trying to get you to sympathize with because, well, they're not against immigration, they're not against disbanding the FBI, they're not against murdering journalists, and all that stuff.
This movie will probably get people killed. Like 13 Reasons Why got people killed. You know that show, 13 Reasons Why? The girl who
Oh,
committed
the
suicide.
murder, yeah, the
Yeah.
suicide thing.
That got people killed.
I can't say, and I don't want to speculate that.
Fair enough.
But it is not encouraging tolerance and de-escalation by any means.
It's the opposite.
Yeah. This film is a vile piece of crap that is just like the journalists who are trying to profiteer off of something horrible.
Yep.
This film is trying to profiteer off one of the most divisive times the US has seen in recent memory.
And honestly, I reckon there probably is going to be a civil war.
Look, I don't know. I don't know. I hope not, because this is the thing. If people, even if you think that it's going that way, the goal then should be to try and prevent it by.
It's like I think a civil war could be very likely, and that's also why this film scares me a bit. Yeah, because I believe right now we're basically in a Cold War where we're basically like sharing all this information online, and we're basically making each other hate each other. And it's like a Cold War. You would think well would end up leading to a hot war. And it's like the last Cold War we had took place right after World War II, where there was like a lot of information being shared, and it's like battles here and there happening behind the scenes, and then finally came to an end that like didn't lead to a hot war. So I don't know. I do think a civil war is like very possible.
Teaching tolerance and acceptance, not being so tolerant to being run over, of course, and
Well,
conceding on your standards. And
That's
so
that's the choice there. You
Well,
know, when is
that-
it okay?
there are the sayings that, you know, if the voice is is it the voice of protest is taken away, the only other option is, you know, violent protest or something like that.
There's a lot of really good quotes about it, like between two different people who wanted to create inconsistent worlds, I see no remedy but force. There's one like that. There's people who make peaceful resolutions impossible, make violent revolutions inevitable.
Yeah,
like there's so many great.
But those should be the cautions. I hope it doesn't go that way. The thing is, I do believe we already are in a type of war, a culture war. And the culture war,
culture cold.
the purpose of it is to try and prevent an actual war. And that's why we, you know, calling out this piece of crap of a film, okay? Because of the anti-messages in it. And, you know, again, like, the whole profiteering off of it I find particularly disgusting.
Yeah.
And the fact that it's not unaware that that's what it's showing the journalists doing it.
And then
like
doing it itself.
doing it
Which
itself.
makes sense because it's unaware of it. You know?
Exactly.
Art imitating life.
Don't even bother watching this film. It's a piece of crap. Mm-hmm. Stay on watch.
No, if you're closed-minded and like kind of uneducated about like how people really are, then I think that's where the issue comes in. Because to me, it's like, like I've been saying, it's like they already have this set idea of what journalists are. I think based off gaming journalists, which are, you know, piece of shit. And then I guess they don't realize how diverse people can be, because there are a lot of people that are extremists that are not on the internet, so it's like they don't actually see those people, but they do exist. It's like I'm pretty sure if you go to, like, I don't know, into the bayou of like Louisiana, or like into like, you know, the very rural area of Montana, it's like you're gonna see some weird ass people out there. It won't be common, but there are those people that are there. And it's like same thing with like, I think there's one town in like Arizona, I believe it is. It's like there's this kind of community of people that are like so close with each other, and it's like they haven't have an understanding of like helping each other out and such. If there's an outsider that comes in and like disturbs their peace, they will run them out of town, which however they want to. It's like these guys just don't have an understanding of like people in the world.